So, how do we make those choices? Sometimes I think, for me anyway, it's about stepping back and just acknowledging or appreciating that there is a choice to be made, that I don't have to jump, that I don't have to react, that I don't have to do the thing that's expected, and that I can tune in and try and intuit what the right thing is. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a practice, yeah? It's not
it
easy,
is.
but
Absolutely. I think you're the before and I'm the after.
oh, yeah. Go on, explain that.
I'm Bethany, and this is Life Be Lifing. I guide women back to themselves through grounded spiritual practices and honest conversations about what it actually takes to build a life that feels like yours. This isn't another self help podcast. It's a space for women who are tired of knowing what needs to change, but not changing it. We talk about devotion, self trust, and what happens when you finally stop abandoning yourself. If you're in the middle season between who you were and who you're becoming, welcome home. Hello, hello, loves, and welcome to our next amazing guest episode here on Life Be Lifing. I am so excited because we have a favorite soul of mine that's on the show today, and her name is Marina. Marina is a lover of hope and hospitality, of generating foundations for new dreams. She's a socially engaged producer of mixed heritage with 20 years experience designing creative programs, supporting vulnerable young people and communities. She's currently completing a funded PhD investigating silence as resistance through living heritage. Marina, I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I am equally excited.
So, y'all, just to give you a little background of how Marina and I met, we were at my Finland residency together. She was my housemate, my residency mate, and
We
we
were.
just like immediately connected. And I was like, oh no, Marina's stuck with me for life now. What is she gonna do? I'm sure we were quite annoying at times, but also very entertaining for everybody.
Oh, you like, I don't think I would have survived without you there, Bethany. You were amazing. You are
Oh,
amazing. Thank you for having
I'm
me.
so happy we found each other. Like, so
Me too.
grateful. And here we are in the pod now. And I wanted to have Marina come on, just because I think you're an amazing, inspiring human being, but also the work that you're doing, I just needs to be heard. Even though it is
Thank
about
you.
silence, it needs to be
Thank
heard.
you. That
And
irony, yeah?
so, why don't we rewind a little bit prior to you completing your current PhD? I would love to hear what's really inspired your craft, your work that you do within the creative spaces. Where did all this stem from?
It's a really good question. I feel like my PhD came at the end of one career and is perhaps the beginning of a new one. But the career that I was in prior to that was working with young people, mostly through creative program. And my passion for that came, I suppose, through a childhood where I often felt outside of the system, perhaps at war with it at times, and yet trying to make a pathway through. And I have a very early memory of standing in a sunlit conservatory with a paintbrush in my hand and an art teacher by my side. And for a lot of my younger years, I either wouldn't speak or chose a particular language, my own language, to speak through. And that memory of making art is one that really shines through. It's a really happy memory where I spoke and was very at ease. And so that, I think, has led me through to where I am today.
Wow. Wow. It's just our childhoods, man. They have
Uh-huh.
such a huge impact on our lives and how we live as adults, right? And
hmm
it's just so interesting looking back on our lives and all the things that we've experienced and that we've gone through. And you just never realize what moments actually stick and define parts of who you are and who you become,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know?
And I think I have a bigger belief as well that, I mean, it's obvious when you say it, really, isn't it? That creativity unleashes and communicates with and aids parts of ourselves that other things can't. So It's both that
Yeah.
experience, but also faith, if you like, in what the arts can do. And I enjoyed sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. How do you see that showing up when you were working with youth, the experiences that you had with them?
So often it was to that childhood memory that I have when other things wouldn't communicate. Either those young people couldn't communicate with the system, or the system wasn't communicating with them more often, or they had loads of stuff inside them that they couldn't express, from anger right through to joy, right? And
Yeah.
the arts often did that, whether we would pick up a video camera and make a film, or whether we would paint, as I did in that conservatory. It didn't really matter what the medium was. It was about finding a creative language and a way to be
Mm.
in the world.
Wow, I actually can really resonate with what you're sharing because even when I was at the residency, I found these little pockets to paint or draw or try watercolor. And I obviously have no experience in any of those things. But for me, it felt like a different language to express what I was feeling. And it had nothing to do with the outcome because it didn't matter. Nobody was going to see it. But for me, it was
Exactly.
more of just like, what am I feeling right now? What can I not put into words? And how do I get this out of me?
Hmm.
You know,
Exactly
because
that.
yeah, I feel like for me, and especially with working with my emotions and understanding them, it's always been like a very physical experience for me. It's never been something that I typically use my words for because I'm like, there's an interesting disconnect having an air moon, an Aquarius moon, and a Cancer sun. But for me, I've just come to learn as an adult that whether it's moving my body or through clay with my ceramics or through painting, like it it flips a switch in my brain. It's really
Hmm.
interesting.
Or
Yeah, I
through
mean,
song, or through dance, or
yeah,
like, the
yeah.
arts in the biggest sense of the word. But I remember you finding those pencils and water at Arteles, and I did exactly the same. It was I suddenly found myself in a studio environment, picking up materials that I hadn't done since Art Foundation and just playing.
Yeah.
No requirement to produce. It wasn't about the end product. No one was going to mark it or score it. It didn't matter what it looked like. It was simply about being in the moment. It brings you into the moment, doesn't it? Or it
Yeah,
can do. Can
it
do.
really
Yeah.
does. And I remember painting the days that I did paint it, I would freaking knock out early that night, go to bed so early, just crash. And I'm like, I don't know what part of my brain I just used, but I used a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So we're back from the residency. It's been what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks or so?
Yeah, I think I've been back in the UK a week, so I'm kind of slightly behind. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks or so since we left,
Hmm.
and you just are barely in the like the getting back to normalcy phase because yeah, you're a little bit behind me. I just remember my first week, and even in our group chat with everyone else, just about feeling a little overwhelmed, and it was just like, okay, how do I integrate everything that I experienced back into my real life, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what does that look like for me now? And why is it so loud outside?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
like so many things. And I was actually thinking recently, I was talking to a friend, actually, she was on the show, Natasha, and I was telling her how I feel like a big missing piece with residencies or even just like retreats in general is the integration period after and
Uh-huh.
how there that piece is always missing every time,
Agree. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
it's it's more important and it's more paramount to the experience that you have than I think you even being in it, because it's like you can have all of these revelations and realizations about yourself and your work and what you're doing, but then it's like, okay, but what now,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know?
And how do you take that learning? How do you take those realizations with you? How do you take them forward? I mean, what you're suggesting there is that there's a bit at the end of a residency or retreat that facilitates that, that supports that integration, or at least acknowledges it. I think that there will be potentially a bumpy landing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that occur. So I don't know. I feel like for me, I've had to be even more disciplined coming back than I already was, just to kind of lock in the habit where it's like, okay, everything is happening. I'm back to my work. I'm back to my day to day life. My friends, everybody in the world wants to freaking hang out and like all of these things. But no, I need to lock in at least my morning. Let
Hmm.
me at least block
Hmm.
off my mornings so I can do my meditation, so I can move my body, so I can have a moment of stillness for myself before I just jump back into everything. And that has shifted to me going to bed 2 hours earlier than what I used to, just so I can get up earlier to have the space to do that. And
Nice.
I guess that's what I mean by
Nice.
discipline is I know how important it is for me now to have those things. And
Yeah.
so what am I willing to do to maintain that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned meditation practice. Mine has grown in priority. If
Yeah,
I mean, it was fairly important before, but it's just been emphasized.
I
And
agree.
and now it's longer. I would set aside half an hour. Now I set aside an hour, and we've talked about structure before. I don't enjoy
You
structure.
guys,
I'm gonna be really mild,
Marina abhors structure. Do not use that word around her.
but I do like the word commitment.
Okay.
Um, that allows me enough flexibility to accept that there's something that's really important to me.
Yeah.
But when I do it, and even perhaps how I do it, is then up to the uniqueness of each day. I like both that commitment and the flexibility to come alongside. So yeah, my meditation practice is now longer and more important than it was before.
Yeah, mine too. I think that was the biggest one for me too. It's extended as well up to an hour and
Yeah.
then also forcing myself to journal after. I skipped it for probably 3 days over this past week and I felt it. I felt
Okay.
not having my mornings and my journaling and I just kept thinking about all of the things I needed to get out of my brain and I remember, I think it was like 2 nights ago, I did it at night, everything at night, because I was like, I can't go to sleep until I do this because I can feel me reverting back to how I felt before I left to Finland.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So
I mean,
it's interesting to notice so quickly now, like the difference when I don't keep up with it
yeah,
in some form.
journaling's been terrible. I haven't. I've tried, or I'm trying, but it's not sticking. And that's one of the things that I developed in Finland. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a writer, right, it's a really important practice. And I used to joke that I was a writer that didn't write, which isn't actually that funny when you think about it. But I
Yeah.
didn't have a regular practice, and I tried to write on the residency in a way that I thought I should be doing. That wasn't working for me. It was too tight. It was too crafted. There was none of that play that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So I went back to journaling. I went back to the habit of journaling, and I did it every day. And I was like, oh yeah, this is why it's good. This is why it's good. This is what it does. But back
Mm.
home, I haven't managed to maintain it.
Yeah. What's been your experience? Have you like journaled pretty much your whole life? Because I remember when we were talking to some of the other women at the residency about journaling, right? And they were doing the artist's way
Uh-huh.
and which is a nice entry point, but there's just so many other great resources and different, pathways to journaling. What typically has helped you even in the past just like open up? I would love to hear your experience with that because I feel like I tend to like fall off a lot too and I know how good it is for me and it feels really good when I do it. What's usually helped you open up when you do get into that space?
I think there are a couple of things. It's really interesting. I don't think anyone's asked me before, so I don't think I've really focused on it. But what comes to mind are a couple of things. One is writing with others. I
Mm.
find being in the presence of others really helpful for writing. It gives me a warmth and a confidence that enables me to put pen to paper more easily. And I think I learnt this fairly late in life, but it's about thinking of words as another medium. right? So when I write, I put so much pressure on myself for that end product. It needs to be well crafted. It's all about whether it goes to publication. It's all about whether it's good enough. It's there's so much pressure.
Yeah.
And, I know where that comes from, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, words are a medium just like paint is, just like clay is. And if you can't play with your medium, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah. I
And if it
agree. Yeah.
does work, then what's the point? Like, it's not something to beat myself up with. And I
Yeah.
think often that's a relationship that I have with writing. So whether it's morning pages, whether it's journaling, whether it's a diary, like it doesn't matter what we call it, but the ability to be free on the page. Music sometimes, sometimes I need a techno write. I just need to go in there. I need that high energy. I need that non-stop. I need to get it down, and I need to be in the main room, as I talk about with my online writing buddy. Other times, I need to stand outside and get some fresh air.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't picked up on it yet, you can find this beautiful thread, this through line of Marina to freedom. I would like to attribute that to her double Sag.
Is it just double?
Oh, you've got more placements in Sagittarius. I was just talking about your sun, and is it your rising or your moon?
It's definitely my rising, but I
Your
know it's
rising,
there
your sun and your
for,
rising.
yeah.
And then you also you got some fun placements in there. We were oh my gosh, y'all, at one point I read everyone's birth chart at the residency
You did.
except for Alan.
Did he escape?
He escaped. He escaped me. I
Uh-huh.
tried. I tried. I was like, "Give me your birth time, Alan." He was like, "No."
It was amazing. It was so generous of you to do that. It really was. It was,
It
yeah.
it was. I learned a lot too, so it was great, and it was just fun to have everyone in the room and just hearing everybody's like insights about
I
their
think I
chart.
was the first, wasn't I?
You
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
You were.
Of,
I was
of
like,
course.
get over here, Marina.
Being a Sagittarius. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it's in my chart in 4 places, but kind of certain placements in certain houses was not something that I'd realized before. It
Yeah.
took me a long time to get over Scorpio in my 12th house. That's just like, deal with that one.
Y'all, it was the whole month. It was brought up the whole month
Yep.
and still going.
Yep.
You're like, what do you mean? Oh, yeah, that's a fun one. That's
Uh,
a fun one. But I feel like also, Scorpio on the 12th, it's just like this deep, intense energy, right? Where it's like, I got to get to the bottom of this. And it's just like the digging and the digging and the seeking. And even with like, I kind of, now that I think about it, I feel like it makes so much sense with what the work that you're doing with your PhD too. It's so much research. It's so much digging. I mean, and like getting to the truth and to the core of what you're focusing on,
yeah, I think
and
getting to the truth is really important for me. Definitely.
yeah, Sag, guys,
Definitely.
Sag.
Although at the same time, I don't believe there is a truth, right? Just to put that
Yeah.
out there. I think that we have a
Y'all,
truth. There isn't a the truth. It's like, what's your truth? That's different.
very philosophical and also very Sag of you. I think I could just make a whole book of everything that you say and just put Sagittarius on the front. Like if you ever want to get to know one, here you go.
Uh,
So how has your experience been with this PhD? Because it's been such a huge part of your life. I know.
really? Do you want to open that one up? Do you want to dig
I mean,
there?
even just the topic of what you're working on, because I think the focus is so interesting and it's really insightful, and I want people to hear about what you found. I think it's so important.
That's very kind of you. I mean, I think where I started and where I've ended up are different points. They feel like different points to me anyway, and maybe that's a
Mm,
standard PhD journey. I don't know. But for a long time, I felt like I fell into a PhD. It wasn't a plan. I was really fortunate that I received funding, and I felt like a thread was pulling me along. Like I kept getting signs that I was meant to be here and that I needed to keep going. And so I was looking at how we can speak when words fail us.
Mm.
That was my starting point. And I was in Cyprus, which is where my father was born, but I knew very little about at the time. And there's a unique type of embroidery that's made there that has holes that are cut into the fabric of the cloth. So they deliberately make holes and then embroider around them. So unlike knitting or other types of craft that construct holes, this is about deconstructing to
Mm.
reconstruct, as a good friend of mine said. But I don't know anything about craft. I can't sew a button. I have no depth perception. My eyes don't work properly. I can't thread a needle. I find it all really intolerable. Like, I positively dislike it. And
You're
I've
like, let
ended
me
up
spend
doing a
all of my time
PhD.
on this.
Yeah, right. That is exactly what happened. And at times it felt like the worst place I could possibly be.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what the learning was, and I didn't understand why I was there. But it became a framework that held me over a period of 5 years, during which time a lot of the work was internal, which you will recognize and understand. And it wasn't about the external stuff. But somehow I had to write about it in a way that suited an academic environment. And so what I began exploring was how those holes in the material represent silences in the lace makers' lives, and how we can understand silence as a presence rather than an absence. What does silence say to us? And what are the conditions for us to hear it properly?
Beautiful. I I think that it was so interesting to be able to share silence with you at the residency
Hmm.
too. I mean, most times.
Yeah, most times everyone else shared silence and you and I broke it. Wasn't that the way it worked?
So screw the rules. What are you
You
eating for
can't you,
breakfast?
you can't give me a rule. You can't give me a rule without me breaking it.
So y'all, yeah, we had these silent mornings until 10 a.m. So no one spoke to each other. No one was supposed to speak to each other until 10 a.m. And then we had silent weekends. So from morning till you go to bed. And imagine having this shared space where you're living with other people and not communicating in the way that you normally do. How do you define language for yourself when you are just using your body or, what writing? Yeah, writing. The creative ways we figured it out. Aggressively writing on the whiteboard in the kitchen.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
But it was just a beautiful experiment an experience, but it felt like an experiment for me too of just like, what does this mean when, I'm sitting with myself and although we're not having these dialogue all day with each other, there's a whole dialogue happening within my head, right? Throughout
Uh-huh.
the entire day. It really created this space to hear myself in a different light, like my thoughts, every thought that came in, I was like, oh wow, I'm actually paying attention to what's coming into my mind right now than just moving through it. That was a really interesting experience.
So the silence allowed you to hear it more clearly, hear
Yep.
yourself more clearly, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe more intentionally, is what
Yeah,
I'm hearing you saying. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely, more intentionally. And yeah, I had nowhere else to go. It's
Stepped into
truly,
the Finnish forest to scream,
yeah.
but we don't talk about that. Yeah, yeah. So at the beginning of my research, I did a survey with a few people about their relationship to silence, and the results were perhaps what you expect, but really interesting all the same. And the majority were afraid of silence.
Why
They
is that?
found silence intimidating, um, not something that they wanted. They found it uncomfortable. Perhaps because of the process that you've just described, is that they then heard themselves. And so maybe that says something about their relationship to themselves. But it wasn't familiar.
Yeah.
And then there were some others who, for various reasons, including things like tinnitus and so on, felt that they absolutely couldn't access silence. And silence was a privilege that they were desperate to receive. And something like the residency that we experienced, which not only had silent periods, but was also in a landscape. And the landscape was within a culture that has a deep reverence for silence. Silence has a very different position in Finnish culture, as I understand it, than it does in some others. So it's like silence upon silence upon silence, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Beautifully and perfectly said. It was such a special experience. And it was also really cool to be able to sit with ourselves in that way without the distraction of the hustle and bustle of like city life or of a huge population around you, right? Like when we, walk to the lake by ourselves or we go to the other forest, the other side of the forest, and there's no one there. It's just you. And I felt like that was such a privilege to be able to experience that, because even here in Washington, we have the most beautiful environments for nature, but it's all like trails and there's tons of people a lot of the time, unless you're going out into the middle of Timbuktu. And so you have that connection and experience with nature, and also
Yes.
with,
Yeah.
with
And
all of
also,
the other people. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
thought
it's a
that was really
privilege.
interesting.
It's a real, yeah, it's rare. It's rare.
Yeah. I wonder if also because we meditate so much already, the silence is something that's more welcomed than like resistant to,
Yes. Yeah,
you
I would
know?
say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I actually struggled at the beginning with my meditation practice when I was there, which was unexpected. I still don't know why that is, but yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the birch trees. I said it before, I'll say it again. Y'all, those birch trees are wild. Wait, have you been having just as many dreams coming back?
No, no,
No, same.
no. They were vivid. They were 3D. They were
It's
Technicolor. They were like
wild.
every night. They were
Every
the,
single night.
I mean, I cannot describe how vivid the dreams are in Arteles. In fact, that's a
Y'all,
whole residency waiting to happen.
honestly, they should call that place the dream space because holy shnikes.
That's a
And
good
it's
name.
so, yeah, right? And it's so, you heard it here first, folks. And so, it's just so wild that we all were experiencing that. And then coming home, I need to ask everyone else in the group chat, like, how are your dreams coming? Because yeah, they've dissipated. And it's like I'm back to my weird regular-ish, whatever you want to call
The
regular
regular.
sleep.
Yeah,
But nothing like it was there. And I've never experienced that in my whole life either.
yeah,
First, just like the consistency of it all.
yeah. Yeah, so there's something about not just dreams, but silence being contextual as well. It's about being in a relationship to the place that you're in. And it's also political, right? It's
Yeah.
hugely political. Yeah, anyway, I could write another PhD. And I really don't want to do that. Let me just finish the one that I'm doing. It's taken 5 years. Woo.
Oh man, you're almost there. You're so close.
Thank you.
I
I
can't wait
remember
for
when
that day for you.
I think you were reading my cards at one stage and you were like, it's done. It's done. And I was like, it isn't done. I've got the whole conclusion to write. And you were like, no, it's done. So great.
It's coming. It's coming.
Okay,
The
good.
cards said what they said.
I'm here for it. Bring it on.
Oh man. I remember at one point too, before we left, we were just talking about the podcast and prevalent things that were coming up for us. And we were talking about choices, right?
Yeah, go on.
And what that looks like within our day-to-day life and how our choices really, reflect upon the state that we're in currently and what that looks like moving forward. And, how sometimes it can be so challenging to make a choice. Some easier said than done for some more than others, right? How has that been showing up for you lately?
I mean, I hope this will answer the question, but I think one of the things that I realized on the residency is that there's an energy around what my next steps are. I may not know exactly what they are post PhD, but there's an energy around them. I've been in this framework too long. I want to be moving on. And so some of that is about trusting whatever may happen. And within that, that I will then make the right choices. There was a time in my life where I don't think I chose, I think I followed. There was a time when I was so easily influenced that I would question what was my choice and what was the expected thing. What did I do because I didn't know any different? There are many things that I wouldn't describe as a choice in the way that I now feel like I have choice in my life. And I'm really lucky. Like,
Yeah.
I've got two adult children. I'm not restricted in the same way. I've thrown out any structure possible from, having had to do a lot of things in a particular way, in a particular order, not just to look after myself, but to look after other people. So, freedom,
Freedom of choice.
freedom. So, how do we make those choices? Sometimes I think, for me anyway, it's about stepping back and just acknowledging or appreciating that there is a choice to be made, that I don't have to jump, that I don't have to react, that I don't have to do the thing that's expected, and that I can tune in and try and intuit what the right thing is. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a practice, yeah? It's not
it
easy,
is.
but
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think you're the before and I'm the after.
Oh, yeah? Go on, explain that.
So if how I see it is taking the step back to hear yourself clearly, and then I come in and I'm like, okay, now decide. Decide and then move. Let's go. Rock and roll.
Okay, so this reminds me of when we were sitting round the kitchen
Yeah.
table at Arteles,
That's what I was thinking
and
about.
it's the only time that I felt there was almost the beginning of some friction in our conversation. And I think, I don't know, I haven't known you for that long, Bethany, but I would hate for there to be friction, right? Also, I'm a Sagittarius. Don't bring friction into my friendships. This is not good, right? We're all about love, not about friction. Anyway, and you were talking about a plan, maybe the need to direct some of your choices, the need to make decisions around stuff. And I felt really resistant to what you were saying. And I was like, but you step back and you intuit and you let the universe guide you and you trust that the right thing's going to, and there isn't a right and a wrong anyway. What is this
Yeah, no,
language? And you
not at
just
all.
go with the flow. And you were like, yes, and yes, and you also make decisions and choices and have goalposts. And I was like, what? 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 So I don't know where I sit with that, but I'm glad we've got to the heart again. The heart, the gritty heart of that conversation. We've returned.
I Yes, I would love to hear in the comments actually what's your thought on choice and how does that show up in your life? I would love to take a tally. Who's right? I'm just kidding.
There ain't no right.
There's no right. Yeah, I feel like ultimately we need both, and it's just like, in what phase of our life are we in that we need to lean into one more than the other?
Yeah,
And I think that's where the magic is. It's like, okay, what phase of life am I in right now that I need to take a step back and really just allow myself to be in this space so I can notice what's coming up around me, what's being shown to me, where are the places of myself that I need to, focus on or heal or clear out or move through or just listen. And then it's the other side, where it's like, okay, I have an idea of like what I want to move towards next and what do I need to do right now in present time to help me get there.
yeah, yeah. And there's part of me that thinks we're saying exactly the
We
same
are.
thing, but just slightly differently. It's not
Yeah,
that I'm not going to make choices, and it's not
exactly.
that I don't appreciate any choice that I'm given. Like any
Exactly.
choice is
Yeah.
a special place to be in if you have choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Removal
Mm-hmm.
of choice.
That's another story.
So any choice needs to, on some level, be appreciated if we have a choice. But it's
Mm,
about who's, for me at the moment anyway, it's about who's directing the
mm,
course and when are the choices going to come up. And I suppose I've got an inner trust that when the choices appear, I'm in a position where I'm more likely to be making the right choice for me at that
yeah.
time. And therefore I don't have to necessarily be worrying about it in advance. And that's just totally different. Like I would be anxious about the whole of my future before any of it had even happened. I'm not just talking
Yeah.
about the rest of the day, but the rest of the week, 5 years from now. It's like that's not a place I choose to live in anymore. But it's taken
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Absolutely. I think it might just be my Virgo rising that always needs a plan. It's like the control,
Right,
must control everything.
right. And also in my experience when I've taken, I've got a lot of fire in my sign,
Yeah.
okay, in
Mm-hmm.
my chart. Like I can do control.
Yeah.
Right? I can lead that project like no one else. I am naturally at the front, whether I like
Mm-hmm.
it or not. You can put me at the back, and somehow I find myself at the front. Not only that, with a flag raising up high so that everyone follows. Like there's something in me that is naturally there, and I can't deny that. But the times when I've taken control of it all often haven't worked out well.
Yeah.
So the choice for me is how I relinquish control and bring in a sense of it's okay. On some fundamental level, it's
Yeah.
okay. And let that guide me through as much. Does
Mhm.
that make any sense?
It makes complete sense. It's making me think about the what I'm in right now, what I'm experiencing literally in this moment. I remember something that you put down about like what does your soul say, right?
Mm,
And I've since coming back have had a really big realization about how I show up for myself, but more not more importantly, but also within my work and not taking the reins on me being a leader and what I'm here to do and how I guide. And I just have so much proof over the years of me leading, but
hmm
I don't show it,
hmm
as it should be shown, as it deserves to be seen.
hmm
And I find myself listening to my soul now. And it's like, I want to be seen. I want to share and to show what I'm capable of doing because I've done it time and time again. And now it's completely shifted my whole business. All of my offerings, everything is moving into this space of I know how to do this well. I know how to do this really
Amazing.
powerfully.
Yeah.
And I'm going to speak from that place because that's what my soul wants. It wants to be heard. And it's tired of being covered, you know? Does that make
Uh-huh.
sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It's like
That's
screaming. It's like,
that's
let's
the
rock and roll.
Bethany.
It's like a
That's the
fiery
Bethany
energy.
that I want to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came back with a bit of that.
Mm,
It's interesting what that space enables, isn't it? I mean, I
yeah.
was thinking as you were speaking about some of the work that I used to do, which is where we began in this conversation. Marina, a lover of hope and hospitality. I mean, what a nerve to write that in a bio, right? But also, how Sagittarius, and before I knew it, and there are there are very different styles of hospitality or of facilitation, as we would talk about it
Yeah.
in the arts workshop kind of sense. And some of my best work was done when I was behind the scenes. So I
Mm,
would clean out a room, I would prepare it, I would spend a lot of time in there making sure that the energy was right, that the materials were available, that it was safe, that it was comfortable, maybe edgy as well, but I would ensure that it would provide
yeah.
and then I'd step right back because then the people that would direct it would be the people that would come in the room.
Mm.
And that's a very different form of hospitality than, hi, I'm here and welcome. And like, we're going to do this next and you're
Yeah.
sitting here and then we're going to, that kind of structure. To go
It's a
back to
no for
that.
Marina.
Yeah, absolutely not. Now, maybe that, there are some people who are really good at that. And maybe in some environments or situations that's needed. But there's something incredibly powerful in those creative learning spaces that I made about trusting the people that walk in the room that they know what they need, right?
Yeah.
I can do the best I can to make that public space safe, interesting, inspiring, even, and then what happens is totally up to them.
Yeah.
There's no plan for that. You
Yeah.
can't timetable that out, And that, I think, is where the magic is. Because you've got to have the vision,
Yeah.
but then you hold it. You just hold it. It's like there's no content. It's just some arms around a welcoming space. And the people bring it in.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I've got the vision now. And I'm relinquishing said control. Because I'm like, okay, this is new territory for me. I just got to show up and just say what I need to say and put out there what I need to put out there and let this unfold as it's meant to, right?
Exactly that.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
What?
Here we go. So have the vision, right?
Yes.
Sitting back, allowing the message to come in, allowing the trust and the flow and the surrender to guide.
Uh-huh.
And also, I may not have a full plan, but I do have the direction of where I want to go. And I am taking those actionable steps to get to wherever that leads next.
Okay.
So both
stepping back and action. Excellent. So we're both right. Is that the conclusion?
We're
both right.
You guys,
Hooray!
It only took us a month and a half to get to this point.
And of course it's fluid, isn't it? Sometimes it needs a bit more of this, sometimes it needs a bit more of that. So and if we can do that, that's beautiful. That's where the joy is. Yeah. So lucky. We're so lucky to have got to a place where we both want that understanding and have worked for that understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what does your soul say now?
My soul says, I really like spending time with you, Bethany. It's brilliant. It is brilliant to laugh with you. It really is. I've missed it. I've missed it a lot.
I was going to say, I've missed it so much. We just laughed so much. I was always cooking something and force feeding Marina. I don't know if it was force feeding, but
no, welcome. I was like, bring it on.
And I'm just so grateful to have met you. You know what's interesting? Did I tell you that I pulled cards before I left, and then it said that I was going to meet someone on this trip that was like a dark-haired woman.
No.
Yeah, and I was like, who is this person? And it was you. It was you.
Well, I think it's a bit more grey than dark, but I'll take it.
But it was like a new friendship or something, and I was like, who the heck is coming into my life right now? And it was you.
Yeah, it was pretty instant. There was just something that just went. Yeah, I'm really grateful for you. Really grateful.
Yes, me too. And I'm so happy to just have this time with you on the show. Thank you for sharing just your wisdom and your words and the work that you're doing. I'm so excited for what's coming up next for you. And yes, wherever this leads you, right?
Yeah.
Wherever the calling goes. So thank you so much for taking this time for joining us today.
My absolute pleasure.
I will have Marina's way you can get a hold of her if you ever just want to have a discussion or insights in the work that she does or what she wants to step into next. And I'll have her IG in the show notes. So sending you all so much love, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.